¿Qué pasa, amigos? El Super Bowl empieza pronto, así que quería enseñarles con una canción más de Bad Bunny antes de que tenga lugar el partido. Hoy escuchamos Ojitos Lindos de Bad Bunny con Bomba Estéreo. The first thing we need to talk about is regional pronunciation, because understanding this is going to make it way easier to understand what we're hearing over the course of the song. In case you've been living under a rock, Bad Bunny is Puerto Rican, and they pronounce things a little bit differently than you might be used to hearing, which shows up a lot over the course of this song. Now, the first thing you'll notice is something called aspiration, which is when the sound for the S at the end of a syllable or a word is dropped, and it gets replaced with a quick puff of air. So for example, como estás would become como está. You're gonna notice aspiration a lot in this song. So I'm pointing out every time this happens by replacing the S with an apostrophe. As we go through, pay attention to when those S's get dropped, and more importantly, when they're not. This is crucial we get used to hearing it because a lot of Spanish speakers from different regions do this, like you'll see in all the regions in green on this map here. Now, another region that does this is Northern Colombia, like the city I just got back from, Cartagena. Matter of fact, Bomba Estéreo is a Colombian band from this very same region, which is why we hear the lead singer, Lee Salmet, singing the exact same way. Now, there's two more markers of Puerto Rican Spanish we'll hear in this song, and no doubt at the halftime show. One's called lambdacism, which is when the R sound at the end of a syllable becomes an L sound. So instead of Puerto Rico, they'll say Puerto Rico. And instead of comer, they'll say comer. And the last one is common to a lot more regions than just Puerto Rico, which is the dropping of the D sound, mostly between vowels. Since most adjectives in Spanish use a D at the end between two vowels, you'll hear this a lot, like the word cansado becoming cansao, or vivido becoming vivido. We're gonna see this a few times in this song as well, so you'll see apostrophes in the place for those D's as we go through. Caribbean Spanish can be super difficult to understand sometimes, but knowing how they talk makes holding down a conversation much easier.
Hace mucho tiempo le hago caso al corazón y pasan los días, los meses pensando en dolor. Ha llegado el tiempo para usar la razón antes que sea tarde y sin querer me parte, no. Antes de que salga el sol del acelerador, me vaya sin freno y pierda el control. Nada más seremos dos, tú y acariciándonos en medio del tiempo sin decir adiós. Y solo mírame con esos ojitos lindos, que con eso yo estoy bien. Hoy he vuelto a nacer.
Hace tiempo que no agarro a nadie de la mano. Hace tiempo que no envío buenos días, te amo.
We've got two lines here that say, hace tiempo que no, which translates as, it's been a while since. Now, there's a lot of ways that we can say how long we've been doing or not doing something. If we want to try to literally translate the line in the song, we'd be saying something like, it makes time that I don't, and then the verb. Now, if we want to use a word-for-word translation for I haven't done something in a while, we can use the present perfect. So for example, here the line no he agarrado a nadie de la mano en un tiempo could also work to say the same thing. Only thing is, that's definitely less common, and the hace plus simple present, which we see in the original line, is definitely the more common option here. Now, we can use it both in the negative as well as the positive. So to say something like, I haven't lived there for 6 months, we can say, hace 6 meses que no vivo allí. Or we could say, hace 6 meses que vivo aquí, to say, I've lived here for 6 months. We can also put the verb first if we want, but we'll have to change some things around. Instead of hace plus the time plus que, we'll say the verb, then desde hace, then the time. So it's kind of like saying, I live here since 6 months ago. Obviously, that doesn't translate very well directly into English, but that's another great option in Spanish. And the last option I'll share is with the verb llevar, which generally means to carry, plus the present participle from the progressive aspect. In this case, we'll conjugate llevar onto the subject, then the amount of time time than the action verb in the present participle. So one could translate as I carry 6 months living here, but it works perfectly well too. Now there's lots of ways to say something in Spanish and still be correct. So it always helps to have multiple options in your toolkit to sound more natural and less repetitive.
Pero tú me tienes enredado, me envolví, iba por mi camino y me perdí. Mi mirada cambió cuando tus ojos vi. Bye bye a los culos, ni me despedí. Yo no te busqué, no. Chocamos en el trayecto. Con tu alma en la que yo conecto. Tranquila, no tienes que ser perfecto, no. Aquí no existe el pecado. Y equivocarse es bonito. Los errores son placeres. Igual que todos tus besitos. Y solo mírame.
Con ese ojito lindo, que con eso yo estoy bien.
You might be wondering why I'm translating this line as I'll be fine instead of just I'm fine. Seems kind of weird, doesn't it? Since the verb is in the simple present. Well, this is something that's really common. Spanish often uses the present tense to describe future actions. This might seem pretty weird at first, but it actually shares a lot of parallels with English. For example, if you want to tell your friend that you're going to attend their party tomorrow, which are you more likely to say? I will go to your party or I'm going to your party. Even though the action is going to take place in the future, we use the present tense, right? Well, it's the same thing with Spanish. You're much more likely to hear someone say, vengo a tu fiesta, instead of vendré a tu fiesta. Or let's say you're at the train station waiting for the next arrival. Are you going to ask somebody, when will the train arrive? Or when does the train arrive? Sure, they both work, but you're more likely to use the present tense. Same thing goes in Spanish, where it's more natural to say, a qué hora llega el tren. So just like in English, the present tense in Spanish is the best choice when we're talking about actions in the very near future, or for scheduled events like transportation routes. Matter of fact, this is so common in Spanish that over time, the present subjunctive has pretty much completely replaced the future subjunctive. And for those of you out there saying, I didn't even know there was a future subjunctive, I touch on that in my conjugation series. And if you want a refresher, you can use that link up top.
Yo no me dejo llevar de nadie, yo solo me dejo llevar de tu sonrisa y del lunar cerquita de tu boca. Si yo estoy loco, tú estás loquita, pero baby, como tú no hay otra, no. Quiero regalarte girasoles, ir pa' la playa y buscarte caracoles. Cuando estoy contigo yo no miro errores. Vamos a bailar 200 canciones. Nadie me pone como tú me pones. Yo le hablo a Dios y tú eres su respuesta. Aprendí que los momentos lindos nunca cuestan. Como cuando me regalas tu mirada y el sol supuesta. Y el sol supuesta. Cuando estoy encima de ti, mami, ya me olvido de todo. No hace falta nadie aquí.
I want to talk about one last thing. The line is, no hace falta nadie aquí, meaning nobody's needed here. Now, the verb faltar is super useful. It means a number of things, primarily to be missing. We can use it on ourselves to talk about missing certain obligations or appointments, where it's followed up with a, like with ayer falté a mi cita por estar enfermo, meaning I missed my date or appointment yesterday because I was sick. We can also use it to talk about things being missing or coming up short, like nos faltan 60 pesos para comprar los boletos. meaning we are short $60 to buy the tickets. Now, there's a couple of other uses for faltar, which you can pause and read if you want. But what I really want to talk about here is the associated noun, falta, which is a lack or an absence of something or someone. So when we use the phrase hacer falta, it literally translates as to make a lack, but it's how we say to need or to be necessary. When we want to say that something is necessary, we can say hace falta, like no hace falta nadie aquí, when Bad Bunny's saying nobody's needed here. If we want to talk about it with a specific person, like me hace falta or te hace falta, it means it's necessary to that person, or more simply, that that person needs it. So for example, if you're in a hotel and you need towels for your room, you can call the front desk and say, "Nos hacen falta toallas para la habitación," making sure to conjugate hacer onto whatever it is that you're describing, in this case, the towel. And the last way that we can use hacer falta is when we want to talk about missing somebody. Me haces falta means I miss you, and nos haces falta means we miss you. Faltar and falta are used all over the place in Spanish, so if you're not already using them, you need to start.
Solamente tú y yo.
Antes de que salga el sol, prende el acelerador. Me vaya sin freno y pierda el control. Nada más seremos dos, tú y yo acariciándonos. En medio del tiempo sin decir adiós. Y solo mírame con esos ojitos lindos, que con eso yo estoy bien. Hoy he vuelto a nacer. Y solo mírame con esos ojitos lindos, que con eso yo estoy bien. Hoy he vuelto a nacer.
Okay, amigos, well, that's everything we've got for today. Muchísimas gracias por ver. I know we're all looking forward to watching the halftime show coming up. Should be an awesome game, and no matter who wins, honestly, we're all winners because we get to watch one of the best performers in the world put on what's sure to be a hell of a halftime show. Very much looking forward to it. I'm going to be doing a lesson next, so definitely check out my post tab where I'll have a quiz up and we can decide together what's going to be the content for that next lesson. And while you're there on the post page, check out some of the daily quizzes that I put out just to help keep your conjugation, spelling, pronunciation, and general Spanish skills up to snuff. I put those quizzes out every single day just so we can keep learning a little bit more every day, keep growing our fluency. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys after the game. Adios!